Ooh, okay, we're going Six Flags? Come on down to California, we're gonna go Six Flags, all of us, yeah.
Ash and Zach are super smart. They went to college and learned a bunch of stuff. And Bo and Andrew didn't go to college because that's the way life goes sometimes. What happens when you put them together and you try to make them learn? Grab your friends, let's listen together on Get Dumped On an Info Dump Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to the 4th episode of the Get Dumped On podcast. With your... Fuck me. I can't do it. Hold on.
Keep going. You're doing great. You're doing great.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Keep
We're
that in.
not cutting any of
We
it.
can't keep that in.
Start
Keep
over.
going.
No, okay, here we go. Blah, blah,
Nothing
blah.
will be cut.
Okay, hello, and welcome to the 4th episode of the Get Dumped On podcast, an info dump podcast, hosted by two of the smartest people I know, or they claim to be the smartest people I know. I'm not going to challenge them because I'm one of the dummies, and the other dummy, where they drop knowledge on us, on me and Andrew. Me and Andrew sit back, listen, and learn. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about roller coasters, hosted by Ash this time, and we're going to go from there. Yay!
Thank you for the wonderful compliment.
Yeah.
I wouldn't claim to be the smartest person that you know because I know so many people that are smarter than me. So,
But I don't know those people,
Yeah.
though.
I'm a dumbass.
See?
I don't think I've ever claimed to be smart.
I never claimed to be a wise man either.
Stop it.
But yes, today I am talking about the history of roller coasters. I saw a little blurb about it when I was looking through my Google cards, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting. Let me look into it more." And it was turned out to be really interesting. It's not what I expected. A lot of roller coaster heads might be upset with me because I'm not really getting into modern roller coasters at all. I'm just going to be talking about the history of roller coasters, kind of how they came to America and how they became popular in America. So if you guys were to guess when the first quote unquote roller coaster was invented or we start seeing it, when would you think it would be? Do you think it would be...
Wait, are you giving us answers or?
Well, are we talking
That was
Like-
very clearly a
like-
question,
like-
Bill.
Well,
people
it sounds like
people
we wrote it
sliding
multiple
down a
choice.
hill on a rock, or like an actual built thing?
The former.
Okay, I'm gonna guess 1600s. Yeah.
I'm gonna guess that
1666.
Jesus somehow carpented a roller coaster.
That was called the
That
wine coaster.
Jesus did it.
That's a throwback to the previous episode. Please listen.
So it turns out that the earliest that we start to see what we would call roller coasters were in the 15th and 16th century, so the 1400s, late 1400s in Russia. And they started as hills of ice during the wintertime in St. Petersburg. They were 60 to 80 meters tall with they presume a 50-degree slope. Sometimes they were enhanced by wooden supports, but sometimes they were just carts on hills of ice, essentially just like sledding. And they would take riders just down using gravity, past colored lanterns, and it was a little fun thrill ride. It's important to note that evidence of ramps and slides and stuff obviously are found all over the world, but what we would think of as a pure leisure activity that was bringing people to a place and they were riding a thing. The earliest we think is that this the Russian mountains is what they're called in the 15th and 16th centuries. So yeah, it was just in the wintertime. It was just
cool.
sledding. It was really intense sledding. You would just get in a wooden cart and just go just ride down a hill.
There was no track involved. They were just raw dogging it all the way down the ice
Just
mountain.
raw dogging it all the way down. Sometimes it seems like little wooden supports would be made to kind of give a guide for the carts, but that wasn't. It was mostly just really intense sledding. And then in 1784,
That sounds fun. I would do that in a heartbeat.
I would
That sounds
100%
really fun.
do that.
I'd do it now.
Especially, I would do it now. Yeah, especially if there's nothing else to do. There's no Netflix back then. What else are you gonna do? You're gonna milk your cow and you're gonna tend to your farm, and then why don't you make a day and go down? It's cold as heck. Go do some sledding.
You're gonna eat some
Yeah,
borscht
absolutely.
and slide down the hill.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
That sounds like a wonderful time. And
Yeah,
so
borscht, vodka, going down a hill.
yeah, and it's icy. It's wintertime. It's a winter wonderland. And in 1784, a little known woman named Catherine the Great was
Hey,
actually
I know of her.
What made her
You
so
liar.
great?
Mostly military conquest.
She slid down a bunch of ice better than everybody.
But she really liked it, is the thing. She thought that it was like super awesome and she wanted to enjoy it all year round. So she was like, hey, so why not in the summertime we don't just like build up a little more wooden supports for these things, put wheels on these carts, and then we can keep this good time rolling all year long. So in 1784, she built the first like wheeled track. She also built a stunning pavilion where people, mostly rich people, probably only rich people, would go and like make a day out of it. They would go to the coaster, they would ride down it, they would go get a tea in the pavilion, and they would just have like a wonderful little like leisure day.
Are you claiming that Catherine the Great invented roller coasters?
She may not have invented them, but she certainly popularized them at this time in her country. So this idea was really popular. Like thrilling ride. I mean, we all think that sounds like a good day, right? Like go down to the pavilion, ride down the little wheel car's probably bumpy as fuck. It probably hurts so bad.
I mean, not if you had like a nice cushion on the cart, right?
I don't think that they did. Like, just kind of
Like
seemed like it was a wooden cart.
Pillow.
Maybe. Like, I don't know for sure. It wasn't, like, I didn't see anything about it, but it really just seemed like a wooden cart on a track. Like, that's it. No, like, brakes. Like, just powered by the power of gravity, and then they would, like, hoist it back up to the top. And so, like, the first slides and stuff were essentially you just hike up to the top, you climb a bunch of stairs to the top, and then ride the cart down, and they were gravity rides. And these gravity rides, like, sparked the imagination and the excitement of people and spread to France and England, and then eventually America. So in 1804, one of the first adapters of this like roller coaster was France, and they constructed a similar wheeled slide called Les Montagnes Russes. I do not speak French at all.
She's lying. She's fluent.
Zach is our resident.
I took French in high school.
Here, how would you?
How do you say roller coaster? How do you say? I'm gonna go ride that roller coaster with my baguette.
Je suis travailler en rollercoasters con mi baguette. There's some Spanish in there.
I don't know why I asked you that. I have no way to confirm.
How would you say this, Zach?
It was not correct. Don't worry. Les montagnes russes.
Which is French for Russian mountains.
Russes. I don't know.
And so this was essentially more of the same, where big hills were constructed out of wood, and riders would face sideways on wheeled carts, and they would go down a track. And these were super popular. They were put on like the Champs-Élysées, like boardwalks. They were huge tourist destinations. They were money makers. And so they started improving on the design. And in 1817, they figured out, hey, maybe we should lock the carts onto the tracks. And that way it'll be a little smoother, it'll be a little safer, and people can go a little faster, and they won't.
Oh my god! So before they weren't locked to the track, you could just fly off the. How often did people just fly off the track?
There weren't tracks, right? There was just like a guided thing.
Yeah. So the track was like rails on the side. There were like bumpers that would like kind of hold the cart in place. And then later they were like, well, why don't we just like attach it by the wheels? That sounds a lot better.
Put it on the wheels.
Put it on the wheels. So
we can smoke cigarettes while going down.
Ooh.
And so this like faster coaster with the wheels locked on was opened in Paris. It was called the Aerial Walk or the Promenade Aérienne. Let's see this one. Lots of bad French is happening in this episode.
Did you say the Aryan Promenade?
She did.
Yeah, that's
racist.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I could do a better job.
And it was a 600-foot long track in which speeds of 40 miles an hour could be reached.
Oh my fuck!
And so you can see there were two tracks. You would walk up this like central tower at the back, and then the carts would go down the tracks on either the left or the right. And you would walk up the little track in the center, or walk up the little ramp in the center to get back to the top, and then they would hoist the carts back up.
That's a long walk.
Yeah, but you didn't have anything else to do.
That's true.
This is like when you go sledding in the winter and you gotta walk back up the hill afterwards.
I mean, exactly. And that's like the origin of roller coasters, is just like walking up a hill and then letting gravity take you down.
Have you ever been sledding?
Yeah.
I know you're from California, so I don't.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Oh, I forgot we don't have seasons in California. I forgot.
Andrew and I are
they
both
don't
also
have
from
hills.
California.
Also, yeah, the other two, forget about them.
Yeah, you're all.
It's just a guy who's still in California.
And so people like loved it. Obviously, I would love it too. I think that I would be doing this all the time. It was great for families. It was great for people of all ages, except for maybe the elderly. I imagine it wasn't great for the elderly, but I don't know for sure. So in 1833, the first loop roller coaster was designed, though it wasn't built for almost another decade in 1846.
Oh my God. By loop, do you mean that like it goes around in a loop, or do you mean that it has a loop?
It goes around in a loop. You go upside down, inversion.
That's in the 1800s? Oh my God.
Yeah, in 1846. So it was a single rider track with a vertical loop. They were called centrifugal railways. They obviously have a different name in French. And they were advertised...
Semaine des centrifuges.
Des centrifuges. And they were advertised in theaters in England and in France. And in 1846, a permanent single loop coaster was constructed in France that boasted a 4-meter vertical drop. And one website that I saw about it said it was very dangerous, as suspected, and did not operate long. And it's
that
not
was
super
before insurance, so you could just kill people.
You could just do anything you wanted.
It was
honestly.
legal to kill people.
Uh-huh.
I mean, yeah, that's essentially true, depending on the type of person. You know, it was unclear to me whether or not these centrifugal railways were open to the public or not. So I saw a couple of advertisements from Manchester, England, from around this time that kind of seemed to imply that it was more like you would pay a ticket to watch a guy ride it. So like watch a paid daredevil do it. It wasn't like open to the public, although other ones seemed like you could ride it. So it's not super clear to me whether these were like things that you could do, or they were like, you know, watching the dudes ride the roller coasters around the metal cages type of situation.
That makes sense, because that seems like it'd be extremely dangerous. I
feel like it would be cool to watch. Like I would watch a dude go down the loop slide.
Yeah, if all I'm doing is like farming, I'm like, there's a man who goes upside down. I gotta see him.
Is this guy gonna die? Like, we should go check.
It looks dangerous.
This is against God.
But regardless of whether or not people could ride them or people just go and watch them, these were high thrill recreation attractions that captured the mind and of inventors and thrill seekers everywhere, and they became known as gravity rides.
You know, real quick, before you go on, I really like this episode because I feel like Zach is getting dumped on right now.
Yeah, I don't know anything about this. Ash has researched this all, and every time I ask questions, they're like, "I'm saving it for the pod," and I was like, "Absolutely."
I tried not to pre-dump on Zach. I tried to keep it in.
I've got no spoilers here, so I'm very excited to learn everything.
That's good.
Well,
because the previous 3 podcasts, I feel like you guys knew a lot about the stuff, like you two, and Bo and I obviously don't.
Hey,
so this is cool. This is like a triple dump.
Oh yeah, triple dumping. And so, meanwhile, in America, we're gonna go back in time a little bit. I'm certainly
all right.
Hey, I'm certainly going to mispronounce this, but I believe it's the Mach Chunk Switchback Railway.
That's my porn name.
Damn it! I wanted that to be mine. Can we share it?
You never know what you're gonna get.
You can take this to the two ending words, and I'll just stick with Mach Chunk.
Fuck no.
So you're Mach Chunk and he's Switchback Railway.
Okay. Yep.
That's so good.
That does work pretty well.
And so this was a
new merch idea too. Is a sticker, and it's like a little name tag, and it's like, "Hi, my name is Mach Chunk," and then another one's, "Hi, my name is Switchback Railway."
Porn stars.
Mach Chunk tonight.
Everyone Mach Chunk tonight. So this was a railway that was constructed for transporting coal in the coal industry in the early 1800s, I believe in the 1840s in eastern Pennsylvania. It was the second permanent railroad in the United States, and I think the only one like over 5 miles long. So it was previously used to transport coal, but as we got better at technology, things started to evolve. It eventually became defunct. We found better ways to get coal from point A to point B, and so rather than letting it fall by the wayside, they rebranded it as a passenger ride. So this railway would take people up this scenic mountain route. There would be like 70 people to a car. And it started as like a 4-hour ride, and then they like dwindled down to like an hour ride. And it would take people up the mountain past scenic views and sweeping vistas. You could see the forests, and you could see the coal mines, and you could see the mountains of New Jersey. It was known as the Switzerland of America, which I think is funny.
This sounds like a train. This sounds
it's a train. It's a train ride. Like, that's exactly what it is. It's a scenic train ride.
But that's not a roller coaster.
We'll get there. Okay. And so it would take passengers up to the summit of the hill, where they would have a leisurely day exploring the hillsides, eating at the restaurant that was constructed there, looking at the fire that had been burning for 40 years.
What is this, The Simpsons?
I tried to find out like more about this fire, and I think it was a coal mine fire that was being fueled by like minerals in the earth, and it burned for literally like 50 years.
Like Centralia?
I don't know what that is.
And that's when cancer was invented.
The Centralia
is a 5-mile radius.
Is a town in Pennsylvania that was built near a coal mine, and the mine caught fire. And so basically the town, there's like a big hole in the middle of the town that just has a permanently burning fire. There's just holes all around the town.
Oh, yes. I've heard about that.
It's a ghost town.
Wait,
yeah,
is it
like
still
that.
there?
Yeah, they've a lot of the houses have been demolished recently, but the town's been
I mean, the fire. Sorry.
Yeah, the fire's still burning. It's since
we should do an episode on this because it's so interesting. Actually,
yeah, I want to learn more about that.
The 60s.
Okay, yeah, we'll do it because it's really interesting.
That's fucking crazy.
So it would take them past the ever-burning fire. They would buy souvenirs. They would listen to the band. It was like a nice little day. And then it would take them back down. But what's really funny is that the ride started at like a leisurely 5 to 10 mile an hour pace. It was a scenic railway tour, right? Like you're like, oh, look at the forests. Look at the mountains. We're going to have a wonderful day. We're going to eat this dinner. Okay, let's go back home. And then the way back down the mountain was a gravity ride. And so it was all of a sudden went from this like 5 to 10 mile an hour, like really pretty scenic, like that you would take your fucking grandma on, to an insane drop fueled by gravity where the cars would reach up to 65 miles an hour.
Wow.
So it's like the Willy Wonka boat ride?
It's like Splash Mountain on steroids.
Like, as Willy Wonka was like, come with me, da, da, and then all of a sudden he's like, well, this is fucking crazy. Everyone's losing their minds.
I looked it up, and because like, Zach, have you ever been on Splash Mountain at Disneyland in California?
Yeah, I have not been to Disneyland in California. I think I went to the Florida version of it.
I imagine it's the same.
When I was like 6.
Where it's like a nice little ride, you go past the little figures, you listen to the racist song, and then at the end there's like a really big drop. And I looked it up, and Splash Mountain gets up to 40 miles an hour, and this went 65 miles an hour. And there was a really funny excerpt that I read from a book called The Incredible Scream Machine by Robert Cartmel, and it was some people like describing this drop, and it was essentially just like people had no idea what was going on, like they were like holding on for dear life. People's hats were flying off, their like dresses were flying up, like people were like, because they did not expect this to happen if you hadn't been on it before, but people loved it. Some people were horrified, but most people loved it because it was like a crazy thrill ride. And I also
think that's... tell the poor people beforehand?
It doesn't seem like they told anyone that that was going to happen.
Hey, here's a ride, and then all of a sudden people are like, what the fuck is going on?
Like, I think some people thought that like it was like out of control and they were going to die, you know?
That's part of the thrill, honey.
Look at us go!
There's no better thrill than thinking you're going to die.
I mean, modern roller coasters are really kind of on the same, rely on the same principle, though, except at least
that's true.
You spend 2.5 hours waiting in line and get to see the whole thing go.
I don't think that I'm going to die when I do that, personally.
And there's always the chance that you might.
Yeah, but like I don't like that's not
the roller coaster
the inherent risk is not part of the thrill. But it's
my
like...
thrill. My thrill is like I'm having a good time because this is fun in a controlled environment, and I don't normally get to go this fast in an outdoor thing.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether or not people were how shocked they were when it happened, people did ultimately like it, and scenic railway tours became really popular. It was a really nice way to spend an afternoon. Go look at some nice scenery, like ride a nice ride, and so it was really, really popular. And in a man who is very important to the history of roller coasters named LaMarcus Thompson got this idea from the scenic railways, and he decided to build a smaller version of it at U.S. Coney Island first coaster in the U.S. at Coney Island. There we go. In 1884. So the first
Coney Island here.
Like the first, so that was a scenic railway tour, right? It's not necessarily a roller coaster. It is a gravity ride, but Lamarcus Thompson built the first, what we would call roller coaster in the U.S. at Coney Island in 1884. He saw the booming scenic railway business, and he really wanted a taste of that sweet, sweet action. And so I'm going to hit you.
I'm scenic railway in here.
I want to make money, yay. But also, he had another reason. So I'm going to hit you with a dump or chump this time. It's just two options. Dump or chump.
I love
Let's
this.
go.
Get out of this conversation. Zach can't be in this, though.
Well, he can because, well, actually, I think he
can.
I think he does know the answer to this, though.
Andrew, sidebar. Andrew, sidebar.
Sidebar.
Yeah.
You want to sidebar before I ask you the question?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but Zach sucks. Remember the last episode?
Don't be mean to Zach. Come on.
Remember how he made us feel?
Sidebar.
It's sidebar. Remember how he made us feel?
He made us. He made us feel teeth pain.
He made me brush my teeth.
Sometimes learning is uncomfortable.
It's sidebar. It's
brushed his
sidebar.
teeth.
I brushed my
brushed his teeth after the last podcast.
So
he's gonna go to the dentist now.
Fool me once, shame on them. Fool me twice, shame on him. So we'll let him in this one time.
Okay, dump or chump.
Oh, thanks.
Why did Thompson want to bring roller coasters to the American public? Was it because he thought that the American public was too uptight and he wanted to encourage people to loosen up, have more fun, and fuck more?
I think that happens now. I want that to happen now because everyone sucks.
He thought that the American public was too morally loose and he wanted to provide wholesome entertainment that would occupy people's time and ensure that they fucked less.
What year was this?
1884.
I do actually know the answer to this one, so I'm not going to say.
Oh, God damn it. So he's not helping us now. He knows the answer and he's not helping us. If 1884, if it was in 1884, I don't remember. Prohibition was after that, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So they're probably going crazy.
Prohibition was in like the 1930s.
He may, maybe, I don't know. I think he might be trying to like cool people down. What do you think, Bo?
The fucking though. I don't know.
You think he wanted people to fuck more, or you think he wanted people to fuck
less? You guys gotta fuck! Get in this thing!
Because it's...
Are you gonna go in my coaster? It's gonna make you want to fuck so good?
Get in the coaster and you gotta fuck in there.
Yeah, because they needed soldiers for the army.
You know what? Yeah, I'm going with that one. Yeah, we're going with the first one. Bo, you convinced me.
So you think he wanted people to fuck more?
Oh, yeah. He was he was a big fan of fucking. He really was.
Unfortunately,
if I know anything about him, damn it.
He wanted people to fuck less.
So he wanted to scare them out of sex.
Okay.
He wanted to scare them away from sex.
Apparently, he was a Sunday school teacher and a moralist, and Coney Island was kind of like a seedy hotbed. It was the city, there was brothels, there was alcohol, and he apparently wanted people to have more good, clean family fun, and stop being so morally loose. Unfortunately, this is kind of an unverifiable dump or chump, so I think we're all the chumps in this situation, because he only talked about this like later in his life, and it was like somebody said that he said this, so it's kind of fake newsy, but it makes for a good story nonetheless.
You know what? I think that if that was his original intent, was to calm everyone down and have some wholesome family fun, he was wrong, because anytime I get off a roller coaster, I'm like, I want a corn dog and I want to fuck.
And when people were riding the roller coasters,
roller coasters fully engorged.
People were bumping into each other. You know, you ride with your lady friend, your shoulders are touching.
Like,
maybe her dress blows up a little and you see her ankles and her calves, and then your heart is beating really hard. Like, it's exactly
God
the opposite.
Cries. It's a whole thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so
you're like, oh, excuse me, Marie Antoinette, I saw your calf. And she's like,
what's your name, Marie Antoinette?
I don't know.
The roller coaster has made me quite turgid.
Oh, no.
That needs to be in the beginning. That needs to be in the beginning.
Marie Antoinette died like 80 years before this, but
there's more people named Marie in the world, and she wasn't the only one. Maybe she liked roller coasters and loose dudes. I don't know.
Well,
she went
to Coney Island, and she was like, "Give me a hot dog, and I'm gonna go on, this roller coaster with Sturgis here, and we'll see how he goes."
Do you think that Marie Antoinette went to the Promenade Ariane? Oh wait, when was this?
No, she died in the late 1700s, and it was built in 1817.
She would have been sliding down ice in Russia if she did anything.
Yeah. Maybe she went to Catherine the Great's.
Like
a little pavilion, and had fun on the wheeled carts and drank the tea. I don't know for sure, though. I don't really know the politics of the world at that time and what they were or were not doing.
This podcast has made me very happy talking about old-timey roller coasters.
Yep. And old-timey
so-
sex thing. Yeah.
And
Quite
because
the balm after last time.
See, last time I'm gonna
biggest-
brush my teeth. Next time I'm gonna bang before the next one.
oh gosh, the next the thread that runs through this is just that people love roller coasters. Like from the time that they started, like everybody just loved it because why? What's not to like? You know, it's fun. It's a good time. Gets your heart going. And so Lamarcus Thompson's roller coaster at Coney Island was a huge hit. People loved it. He called it the Switchback Railway, I believe. It brought in loads of money for him. It paid for itself in 3 weeks.
Fun
Is
fact:
this
the Switchback Railway.
or is the mock something or other?
Yeah, I think he named it after that. I
Oh, okay.
didn't write it in my notes for some reason.
So the Switchback Railway is actually a sex position named after that.
After Lamarcus Thompson, he'd love
Yeah,
that.
they're like he was like, oh, okay, like that makes sense. I get it now.
Let me find the exact name of his coaster. I can't believe I didn't write it down.
While Ash is doing that, Bo, would
Yeah,
you
Switchback
explain what
Railway.
a Switchback Railway entails in the sexual?
Oh,
sense?
well.
It was the Switchback Railway. I'm already done. We actually don't need to.
Well, next podcast I'll do it.
It's like what is that? How does that work? How
No,
does that
So
work?
the Switchback Railway was. I'm just gonna keep on going through because I don't want to hear Bo talk about a sex position.
According to Urban Dictionary, the switchback side is
no.
masturbating
Nope, it's not the
while
same.
sitting backwards
It's not
on
the
a
same.
toilet.
Cut that out.
So it's masturbating while sitting backwards on a roller coaster.
on a roller coaster. Well, so people were actually facing like to the side because that was a holdover from the like scenic railway thing. You would sit like bench style. It was a huge success. So it was a coaster where you would walk up to the top, you would go down. It only got to like 6 miles an hour, and you would slide down to like one post, and then you would slide down to the other, and then you would start at the top, get off at the bottom, and then they would like crank the gears so that the car that was at the bottom is now at the top, and then they go do it over again.
That's less fun, I would say. I was expecting better. Honestly.
It was certainly not as thrilling, but it was a super good time. Like everybody loved it. Like I said, it paid for itself in only 3 weeks of operation.
That's pretty cool because it's just if you think
Yeah,
about like
wow.
most businesses, they say you don't make any money until like 2 years in. So this dude, he came up hard.
And he opened more scenic railways, and by 1888, he had opened almost 50 coasters in America and Europe.
Ooh.
It was a booming business.
Wow.
So can we go back to something you said real quick though? So you said the train one that he based this one off of. Everyone sat sideways.
It was essentially like a trolley car, so it was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Could you fucking imagine going 60 miles an hour and not being able to like see where you're going? Like so if you're sideways, that makes it way more
Yeah.
terrifying.
Motherfucker, I don't think they had seatbelts.
Yeah, no, you know they didn't have seatbelts.
How
They
many
just like
people
they were
died?
holding on, and they were just like hoping that everybody else was holding on too. You were just holding on to everybody else. Like the seatbelts was everyone's arms draped draped across each other.
I didn't see anything about like deaths or anything. Like surprisingly, it seemed okay.
That's I mean, did they really? They could be like, Genghis fell out and he died from bone contusions. Like, no, he died from the
Oh, the
blunt force of
bones.
falling out of your.
Well, he was weak, and that's why he fell out of the car, and that's why he died.
he died
It was
from
a moral
weakness.
failing.
It was a moral failing.
It was all part of God's plan at that point.
Mhm.
It's because he was fucking too much. It was retribution and punishment.
It was
Yeah.
way too
Yeah,
loose.
yeah, yeah.
It was, and that was just that was repent or whatever. I don't know. I don't know anything about
Yeah,
God.
penance. So it was a booming business. He opened a bunch of railways, and it also sparked a lot of competition because people saw how popular this was. And so the popularity of the coaster started a race of innovation and invention, and some of the things that they invented during this time were things that we still see in coasters today. Actually, one of the main mechanisms of the Mach Chunk Switchback Railway was the safety ratchet
baby.
mechanism. And so when you're going up a roller coaster and like they're pulling you up and it goes click, 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 and it like clicks into those little things as you get pulled up.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the mechanism that brought people up the hill on the original scenic railway.
Ooh.
Wow.
And so like I think
That's
that's
pretty
really cool. That like it's like one of the base things about like how roller coasters work, and it has been in operation since the 1800s.
You gotta walk before you can run. That's
Real-
pretty freaking cool.
Yeah. Real
So-
foundational work here.
So
Yeah,
I
so
actually
this-
found a picture of Thompson's Switchback Railway.
there's pictures. I didn't include any pictures because this is an audio podcast, but
yeah. I'm just saying, like, it's just so you guys can see
great.
it.
So
It actually looks really
so
cool.
classic.
If whoever wants to like listen to this podcast, just look up Thompson Switchback Railway. That's actually a really cool looking thing.
Yeah, so you'd start here over here at the top, and then you get on. They'd load you full of cars. There's actually a better picture of it that I saw. I'll find it.
This is from
One
Wikipedia.
second.
Oh, I'll find it.
I'll find it. Okay, I'm not gonna find it.
there's a really good one that I found. I have it like right here. Yeah, right here.
Oh, the Switchback Railway only lasted 9 years. The loop-to-loop one. Sorry, the loopy-loop. Oh, that's awesome.
That's later in time. You're jumping way ahead. We're going to talk about
it. Yeah, I know.
And that was not the loopy. That's a different loopy-loop one. The loopy-loop that we talked about is different than the one that you just saw.
Got it.
And so, yeah. So, it looks fun, right? Look at those old-timey people. But you see the people on the top are facing sideways, but the people on the bottom are facing frontways. And so I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, very interesting.
Because everything I saw said that they sat sideways, so I don't know what's going on there. Fake news, fake history.
That's like, I don't know, maybe you have to pay more to face forward.
Well, it's the same like track, I don't know. It's fine. They started at this time. They started adding safety features, seat belts, like lap bars, linking multiple cars together, adding mechanical hoists. All of that came about in this era post Switchback Railway in the kind of like boom of innovation. And so in 1885, this guy named Philip Hinkle decided to face the seats forward so that people could see the drops and loops as they were coming, which he said made it more scary. But Andrew, I think you're right in that it makes it a little less scary.
I mean, I was always so when you go into a roller coaster, are you a front car kind of person or you're a back car kind of person?
As long as I'm facing the right way, that's I'm cool with it because you can still see if a drop is coming even if you're in the back car.
Because you'll look at the cars in front of you. I would usually go for front cars because they were a little less herky-jerky than the ones in the back, and it felt like you get banged around a little less.
I kind of like the back ones, though.
I always like the front cars.
The back ones are a little more like they're feisty, Like when you go over those like humps and you get that weird feeling in your stomach, the back car, you definitely got a lot more of that.
Yeah. I don't like getting like bonked around and having neck pain, so that's not my bag.
What about you, Bo? Bo, what do you like?
Yeah, what about you, Bo?
A bonk pain. Sorry.
Do you like the front car or the back car?
Were you paying attention?
No, I like the front car. No, I was. I'm sorry. The front car.
Do I have to fire you from the podcast again?
No, because I like the front car because when you go down the hills, it's more tingly.
Yeah, you like. Yeah. I like not having the cars in front of you because it like really emphasizes the whoopiness of it all.
Yep. And like I like them not having people in my way. That's just also sorry.
And if someone like in the front like pees or spits or something, there's like no way that will hit you. If
it's usually me. It's usually me. It's
although
me.
If you're...
me doing it.
That's the last thing I think that I'm like maybe throw up, maybe spit, maybe a cell phone. Pee is on the last thing on that list.
I was thinking like a kid who got scared
and had his
and like peed himself and peed through his pants. Pee's liquid. It comes out of your pant leg.
But is it not how much you pee? It's like a puddle that goes, ha! You go down the loop and it just flies up and everyone behind you.
Do kids
gravity,
do kids feel
like
I don't know.
If I know anything about gravity, if there's a sudden drop, anything that there is not ratcheted down, aka a puddle of piss, would float and then hit whoever's behind them.
Who's behind it? Or if you're Fabio, you get hit in the face by a bird.
Oh,
yeah, I remember that.
That's a con for being in the front for sure.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Anyway, back on track. In 1885, he faces the seats forward. He wants to get higher speeds. He wants more thrilling drops. He gets the mechanical hoists going. During this time, there was a lot of coasters that had changes and iterations. So, like in Haverhill, Massachusetts, they did like an elliptical, figure 8 configuration of the track. Philip Hinkle makes a continuous loop coaster. So like the Switchback was like a starting point and an ending point, and they were two separate points. This other guy was like, why don't we have it be the same point? So you get on and off at like the same place and it's a continuous circle and you can go around multiple times. And so there kind of was like a deviation between high thrill fast rides and then like the more scenic like railway style. So there was like two kind of styles. The like high risk, high reward style, and then the like, this is just a fun, like, scenic railway, a nice time to spend with your family. And so Thompson, giving credence to the he wanted people to fuck less theory, he really innovated his own particular style, which was the more scenic style, along with the help of a designer, a man named John Miller. And so Thompson and Miller made these elaborate sets, which were kind of what we would call now like Disney-esque, although it was much before Disneyland, where they were like hyper designed, meticulously thought out scenic rides that you would go past, like, you know, scenes. They would make like sets. He designed this thing where when you would go on the track, the car would like trick a switch. So it would roll over a switch and like flip it. And so like lights would turn on like as you were approaching different scenes.
I love that.
And again, giving credence to the he was religious and wanted people to fuck less thing, one of his big roller coasters was depicting Bible scenes.
Oh, boo.
Boo.
Boo. That's boring. I don't want that.
But he also had ones that were, you know, more like jungle, or like he opened one on in New Jersey, in Atlantic City. And he was making buku bucks at this time.
I don't like that. I don't like the Bible one. That would be really boring.
Yeah.
You just be like going down, and then there's just like a bunch of depressing shit happening in front of you.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to ride that one. But if you like the Bible, you know, then it was probably a good time.
Franietta, I believe that the Bible coaster has made me positively bricked up.
Shan't we go procreate later?
Should we go get married first and then meow, meow, meow?
And so on the other side, so like that was the more like scenic railway version. And then on the other side, in the like high thrill version, in 1895, the Flip Flap Railway opened at Sea Lion Park on Coney Island. And this was
I love that. That's a great name.
The old Flip Flap.
The Flip Flap Railway. This was the first looping coaster in America. It could only hold 2 riders at a time. And it was a perfect circle, which I don't know if you know anything about physics or roller coaster design, but the fact that it was a perfect circle meant that the G-forces inflicted on the people riding it are much higher than if it was like an elliptical shape, which all loop coasters now.
Yeah, they're not perfect circles because it like you have to go pretty vertical for a while, and then it's a quick loop at the top, and then you come down more vertical on the bottom side.
Precisely. The time when you're actually like flipping over and getting inverted is a shorter time frame, and that's when the most G-forces are applied. And so they would just like
some people are just like, oh, the blood's right in their heads.
So they would just like tow you up all the way up this long thing, and then let the car go, and then it would go over the loop. And
how tall was the loop?
It's hypothesized that, that's a good question.
Actually, I'm looking at pictures of it. It looks pretty tall.
How tall is it?
At least 6 horses.
Let's see here. Not more. I know I saw, but I don't remember.
The G-force was 12?
Yeah, so that's what I was going to get to. Like,
oh my God, 12
it would inflict G-forces up to 12 Gs. That's more
like
than like astronauts.
Shit.
That's literally more. Like, that's literally lethal.
25 feet. 25 feet, Bo.
Oh my God.
25 feet tall. So it was
God.
literally lethal. Like that is lethal amounts of G-forces. And so it only was open for like a couple years before people were like, actually, this sucks and I don't want to do this anymore.
It was open for 7 years.
7 years.
How many fatalities?
And because it could only hold 2 riders at a time, it didn't turn a profit because people didn't want to ride it, and only 2 people could ride at a time, and it hurt people.
Oh my God. I just pulled up an article. It's entitled "Blood Sport: Bloody Noses, Cracked Ribs, Even Death on Early Roller Coasters," and it's the picture of the flip flap.
Yeah, it was. People would get neck injuries. They would lose consciousness. Like, if you had pre-existing conditions, like, you could die.
Oh my God, that's amazing. See, I want to ride that.
I don't know that
now
there
I want
are,
the death part.
Now I don't know that there are actual, like, I don't know that there are actual, like, statistics on it, but I know that it, like, wasn't great.
Wow. Yeah, I'm going to try and find if anyone died on this thing while you keep talking.
Yeah, go for it. I looked into it briefly, but didn't find anything immediately, and then stopped looking.
And if they did die, I want to be next. That sounds like a way to go.
And so you would like.
Hold on. According to this, writers frequently blacked out either entering or exiting the mechanically unsound, barely engineered circular loop. But the sight of Carney's pulling unconscious writers off the ride made lines even longer.
Yeah,
for
so
those
that's
wussy onlookers who were pregnant, had heart issues, and were not interested in risking brain hemorrhage, they could pay a nickel just to watch the flap
yes.
operate.
Cool.
Yeah, you could. So they. You could. It's funny that you had to pay to watch it too, because it's like, is this person? Let's pay a nickel, see if this guy dies.
Coasterpedia.net says that the first recorded coaster accident that resulted in a death is in 1906 at the Loop the Loop in White City.
So the Loop the Loop was the next iteration of the Flip Flap Railway. They made it elliptical. It had a little bit less like G-forces. You would think that like this really dangerous coaster was going to be the like people wouldn't want to ride roller coasters anymore, but like Andrew said before, it was actually the opposite. Like that's not what happened. People saw this like dangerous thrill ride and were like, heck yeah, let's keep these coming. Like we want to ride this crazy, like get these endorphins going.
That's insane. It says that's more G-force than modern day Navy pilots.
Yeah, it's more than like a fighter. I literally think it's more than like NASA.
Holy fuck. No wonder they were fucking after that. Like, if we survive this, we can beat anything.
Well, yeah, because the G-forces send all the blood straight to your...
straight to the penis.
Straight to the genitals.
Right to the genitalial area.
Yeah, so
we need to construct one of these.
You only have to withstand 3 Gs to be an astronaut.
Yeah. So we'll do this. We'll put Bo on it, and then we'll see if he's horny afterwards.
I'll report back with my findings.
I mean, all the blood is like in your head, so like it's probably gonna take a minute.
Holy shit!
Yeah, frigging wild, right? And this just is really what like, and that was kind of like I think the last of the like what I would consider truly historic coasters. And so it continued a huge boom of coaster design and popularity, culminating in the golden age, or they call it the wooden age of coasters in the 1920s, because they were all wooden coasters. There was a bunch of roller coasters during this time. I think one at least that's still operating today, like the Cyclone, I think it's called, was a wooden roller coaster opened in like 1927. Don't super quote me on that. I don't exactly remember.
1926.
1926.
Oh,
I saw it in my research, but that's not what I was interested. I was more interested in like the history of it. But
it was torn down in 1964. But a reasonable today lives in Central Virginia at Kings Dominion. That's actually right near me. Which used some of the original 1926 blueprints.
Oh, cool.
Okay, well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. What is the oldest operating coaster?
Isn't it? I think it's in California. I'm not gonna lie. For some reason, I know that. Please don't.
The dips in Altoona, Pennsylvania.
Oh, close enough.
10 miles an hour. It looks pretty boring, to be completely honest.
It also looks like it would jerk you around real bad.
Wow, I was gonna say every wood coaster I've ever been on, it was the worst experience. It's just so jerky, herky-jerky. Like it hurts a lot.
Yeah, and so the roller coasters became really popular throughout the 20s, and then the Great Depression hit. And so that really cut into the amusement park industry. People didn't have the time or the money. They were not interested in leisure activities anymore for the time being. Roller coasters really fell off, and you know, people stopped building them. People stopped going to them. They closed them down. And roller coasters in American society, at least, didn't really become popular again until Walt Disney opened Disneyland in the 1950s. So there was really like from 1930 to 1950, there was basically like not really roller coasters. People weren't really doing as much leisure activity.
Well, that's weird to think about, because Disneyland doesn't really have roller coasters.
They're have more of the scenic railway version, like where you ride a thing and you look at fun things, and it's a nice time to spend with your family.
Yeah, obviously they have roller coasters now, and the California Adventure and the whatever is at the Florida one. I've never been there, but yeah, back in the day, it was very much just like a tram where you saw Winnie the Pooh wave at you for a while and then you get off.
And that's what I
wanna
thought was
rewatch
so
some
interesting.
old episodes of Defunct Land because they have all those really cool ones about the early Disney roller
Yeah.
coasters.
And that's what I thought was interesting about how the Mach Chunk Switchback Railway was like the first like popular kind of like tourist
Such a
attraction
good
in this
porn name,
style,
dude.
because that's what Walt Disney got the popularity back was with that same exact type. So like people were liking that style of leisure ride for a really long time. I think that's super interesting.
I like that. That was
Yep.
good.
Yeah.
That was a good pod. I like this pod. I like it
Oh,
better
yeah.
than the last one because that
Oh,
made
yeah.
my teeth hurt.
Yeah, and that's where I stopped.
my
I mean, there's
feelings.
obviously a whole other podcast we could do about, Walt Disney itself, the parks itself, like theme parks in
Action
America
park.
post the Disney action, like how Disney changed like theme parks in America, but I wasn't necessarily interested in any of that right now. I was just interested in like, where did the roller coaster come from? How did it get to America? Like why how and why did we do this?
Okay, so question for you guys then: what is your favorite roller coaster, or what is your most memorable roller coaster that you've been on?
I always
I-
liked the Batman ride at Six Flags.
That's
yeah,
a good
the
one.
Six Flags, the Batman. I wonder because there's a Batman ride at the Six Flags New England that I would go to growing up. I wonder how similar they are.
It's
I
where the
believe
one
if I know anything about roller coasters, which I don't, I think that's the world's first, like the first
Stand-up?
version of that one is the first upside down, like hanging roller coaster.
Oh.
I
might
think
be
it was
lying.
the first stand-up roller, like where you were standing instead of sitting. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's
though.
one of those weird ones.
Mm.
I will say for mine, I remember the first time I rode Goliath at Six Flags Magic Mountain in LA. And that was the only roller coaster that made me so close to passing out that I had loved it. It was great.
I
Uh,
remember one called the Mind Eraser that was at Six Flags New
Ooh.
England as well. That one was
Those were
pretty
drugs. That was drugs. That wasn't.
cool.
Andrew, the Batman ride at New Jersey Six Flags Great Adventure opened in 1992. Was the first inverted coaster where the riders were suspended below the track with their feet dangling.
Aha! I remember.
Oh,
that.
it was
What?
the J-
I remember.
It was the
anything, and I remember
Joker
that.
ride that you would stand up.
Oh, the Joker ride was sick as shit. Oh man,
Yeah, the
okay.
Joker ride
Let's
was
go.
Ooh, okay, we're going to Six Flags. Come on down to California. We're gonna go to Six Flags. All of us. Yeah.
I also remember because when I was growing up, we would go. It was either right at the beginning of summer break or right at the end of summer break. I can't remember, but we would go on a trip to Six Flags New England, and it was a really big deal for us. And I distinctly remember the Batman ride and the Superman ride and the Mind Eraser.
Oh, the
And
Superman
I think
ride
the Superman
was-
ride was I think it was the longest coaster at that point.
Oh,
Like,
Ash, it was the Riddler's Revenge, not the Joker ride.
Oh, it was
Oh, the Riddler's
oh,
Revenge.
Riddler-
Dang
oh.
it. Bo, do you have a favorite coaster?
Oh, fuck. What's on at Six Flags?
There's lots of them. It's like their whole thing.
Not good at names though. So I'm gonna say California Screaming at Disney, California Adventure.
I got X2, Twisted Colossus, Riddler's Revenge, Goliath, Classic Revolution, Full Throttle, Tatsu, West Coast Riders, Superman.
They
Wonder
all
Woman,
sound
Scream.
about.
Wow, there's a lot of those there.
Yep,
There's a
that's
lot of
what-
roller coasters. Let's
There's like 3 different
Oh,
Batman
Ash.
rides there.
There's Batman Returns,
Batman
Revenge.
The Escape,
Batman 2.
Begins.
Here he goes again.
Gotta
but
go
yeah, so
batting.
that was the history of roller coasters. I hope you learned a little something and had a little fun. I had a lot of fun researching it. So
I had a lot of this is great. I really enjoyed
Good
this
one.
episode. It was
Good
a really good one. Very
I can't
pleased.
wait for our next episode, which will hopefully be an upper decker because I want to drop some shit on you guys.
yes, the next one will
Oh,
be an
yeah.
upper decker where Andrew dumps on us.
Yeah, that I'm very excited for this next one.
Who
as
wants
well.
to take us out today?
Hey guys, did you know that podcasting with your friends is a really fun experience?
It's a really good time to hang out with your
It
friends
depends who
and
the
make
host
them
is.
Just don't
And
talk
make
about
them-
teeth.
and force them to
I was still
listen
having a
to
really good
you.
time.
Zach, you're having a great time. And we were just like, oh, God, ew, no, ew. Bo, take us out today.
Hey guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this dump that we just took on you, and I hope you guys enjoyed every bit of Ash's knowledge that you dropped on us, as I did. So everyone have a good night, and thank you so much. Bye-bye.
And let us know your favorite roller coaster.
Yeah.
Send
And we'll
us an
tell you why it's
email
wrong.
at getdumpedon@gmail.com.
You got to make sure that's not taken
send-
I'm gonna
first.
have to claim that.
send a letter to Get Dumped Done at P.O. Box 420.
Okay. Hubba-bye.
Ash and Zach are super smart. They went to college and learned a bunch of stuff. And Bo and Andrew didn't go to college because that's the way life goes sometimes. What happens when you put them together and you try to make them learn? Grab your friends, let's listen together on Get Dumped On an Info Dump podcast.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for
Don't forget to subscribe to my OnlyFans.
Bye. Hubba-bye.
I'm booked up. Ah.
Is it OnlyFans?
Find out.
Oh.
Email and find out.